you've ever questioned your own inner voice, or you've struggled to tell the difference between intuition and anxiety, or maybe making decisions feel scary or kind of heavy because you're afraid of getting it wrong, I want you to know that you are in the exact right place. Welcome. And you were most likely conditioned. When I say conditioned, I mean the beliefs, the fears, the patterns that we absorb in the most formative years from family, church, society, our culture that quietly shape the way that we see ourselves, God, and the world. For some context, I grew up in a pretty strict and religious household. My mom was actually in a nun convent in El Salvador before she moved to the US and met my dad. And then when I was 2, she converted from Catholicism to Christianity. And so I was raised in a very faith-driven environment where spirituality often felt rooted in fear, urgency, and sometimes powerlessness. Now, this isn't to throw shade at the church or anyone in my family. It's simply my experience. And for a long time, I didn't realize that what I was calling discernment was actually anxiety. So, in this video, I want to share what I had to unlearn and how I slowly rebuilt trust with my intuition, my inner voice in a way that feels grounded, calm, and empowering instead of fearful. So, before we dive deep, I think it's important for us to first understand why we confuse fear with intuition. So when you grow up in instability or experience traumatic experiences, your nervous system wires itself for survival. And if you haven't had support, you may still be operating from this state of being in threat or in danger when you aren't. And when you grow up in fear based spirituality, you're often taught that authority lives outside of you. You're taught that obedience is more important than embodiment. And what I mean by that is by following the rules without questions instead of what you're feeling in your body, urgency over trust, fear as protection, and powerlessness as humility. So, this leads to a form of hypervigilance that can feel like discernment and confuse anxiety for intuition. Sometimes, what we call intuition is actually our nervous system trying to protect us. For me, it wasn't like one dramatic awakening moment. It was a slow rebuild, a slow noticing of when my body felt tense and tight, or when I was rushing through life and decisions, when shame was motivating me, and when fear was running the show. Slowly, I started to realize fear and intuition do not feel the same in the body. Now, there are many resources that you can find online, whether it's through books, through podcasts, or through videos like this one. But the question that I've got the most and I used to ask myself then becomes, what does intuition actually feel like? And I believe that this is important because intuition isn't one size fits all. It's going to feel different for you and for the person next to you. Some people see things more clearly, some people feel things more deeply, some people hear, and some people just know. You may have heard of the four clairs: clairvoyance, which is clear seeing; clairsentience, which is clear feeling; clairaudience, which is clear hearing; and claircognizance, which is clear knowing. But intuition can also show up as a repeated theme that keeps appearing in different areas in your life, a book recommendation that keeps resurfacing, or a book that comes at the exact right time, a dream that feels symbolic instead of chaotic or catastrophic, angel numbers that make you pause and feel something deeply, or a subtle expansion in your body. But here's what I learned. It is not some like magical moment all the time. It kind of rarely is. It's actually consistent. And the guidance isn't just the sign, it's how your body responds to it. Because intuition often feels very subtle, it is calm, it's not loud or dramatic or urgent. And that's very different from fear. And that's the most important distinction for you to know, and how intuition actually speaks to you. I highly encourage you to keep a journal and to notice how it feels different from fear and how you receive those inner nudges and messages. One of the books that really helped me on this journey is one that you might have heard. It's called Women Who Run with the Wolves by, I think it's Clarissa Pinkola or something like that. It is a pretty thick book. I highly recommend it. I think that it's a book that every woman should have in her library. And it's something that I would feel called to pick up and then put down and really integrate what it was that I was learning. And what I love about this book is that she explains certain aspects of the wild woman archetype through stories and stories from all around the world. So if you feel interested and you're looking for a way to reconnect, this is a resource that really serves me. So now let's talk about fear versus divine guidance. Like I said earlier, fear feels urgent. It sounds like decide now or something bad will happen. If you get this wrong, you'll regret it, or you should just know better. It's a contracting feeling. It tightens your chest, and sometimes it leads you to spiral. Now, divine guidance or intuition rooted in love feels completely different. What's important to know with this too is that it won't always feel easy. Your intuition may stretch you. It will often ask you to grow, but it does not shame you. It does not humiliate you, nor does it rush you. Instead, it invites you. And one of the biggest shifts for me was realizing something so simple, and that is that love and fear cannot coexist. Where there is love, fear is a stranger. And one of my favorite practices that I have learned from one of my teachers is to simply put hands on your body. It could be on your heart, could be on your belly or on your throat, taking a nourishing breath in and a clearing breath out. Now, you can simply let these words land, or you can repeat them out loud or to yourself. I am the keeper of my mind and body. Wherever love is present, fear is a stranger. You can tap your chest and say, love is here in me. Let's do that one more time. I am the keeper of my mind and body. Wherever love is present, fear is a stranger. And love is here in me. Notice how your body can soften with this deep knowing. You can gently open your eyes. Thank you for practicing this with me. So if the voice guiding you feels punishing or threatening, that is not the voice of God. God does not shame you into obedience. God invites you into alignment. Fear will feel contracting and love will expand. And intuition, true intuition, is rooted in love. Now, there's another layer that I think is really important to talk about here, because sometimes what we call waiting on God is actually avoiding responsibility. Or sometimes the I don't know yet is fear of choosing. And intuition doesn't remove your responsibility, it invites you to listen, to reflect, to regulate, and then consciously choose. And that, my dear, is co creation and leadership. Now, I'm going to share a practice that you can carry with you in your day-to-day life. So I want you to try this with me. You can either close your eyes again or simply soften your gaze for a moment and just simply say yes out loud. Go ahead. I trust you doing this. Just say it. Yes. You can even do it with a smile on your face. You can imagine what you're saying yes to. Imagine a scenario that in the past has felt really good and supportive and say yes. Great. And notice what is alive and present in your body. For me, it's a smile. It's hard to do it without a smile. Now that you've noticed what this yes feels like in your body, I invite you to simply say no. You can think of an experience where it's very clear for you that it's no, and say it out loud. No. Now notice what shifts. For most people, one expands and one contracts. That is information that your body is constantly communicating with you. It is simply your responsibility to tune in. Your body is so wise, and your intuition lives there, not in a spiraling thought, but in the sensation. So, if there's one thing that you take from this, let it be that maybe it wasn't that your intuition was weak. Maybe it was just buried under conditioning. Maybe what you were taught was discernment was actually fear. And you are not a victim or powerless. You are so powerful. You are wise and you're capable of co creating your life in whatever season you are navigating in a way that feels sustainable and aligned. Remember that intuition isn't something outside of you, it's something that you get to build. It is a muscle. And just like a physical muscle where you go to the gym and you strengthen it through different kinds of exercises and resistance, it is your job to nurture this relationship that you have both with your body and with yourself. And before you go, I want you to know that if this resonated, it's probably because something in you is ready to trust yourself more deeply. So don't just consume this and move on. If you are committed to becoming a woman who trusts yourself, go ahead and subscribe, not out of habit, but as a choice and a commitment to yourself, because the content that you consume and expose yourself to shapes how you think, how you feel, and how you lead your life. And if you're ready to go deeper than watching videos, I created something super simple and powerful called the Reconnection Ritual, which are simple daily practices that will help you shift out of autopilot, regulate your nervous system, and rebuild self trust with yourself in the moments that matter the most. You don't have to completely overhaul your whole life. There are different practices that will help you harness and work with your energy and body instead of against it. And if you're curious about how your intuition speaks to you, I recorded a guided meditation called How Your Intuition Speaks to You. I will link it down below. It walks you through connecting directly with your inner wisdom in a grounded way. Everything will be linked below. Don't just let this be information that you consume. Let it become integration, lived experience, something you truly feel and move with in your body, in your day to day experiences. So Let this be a choice and let this be how you begin to break out of the conditioning that has held you back and kept you powerless and questioning. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing this incredible, amazing work. I see you, I love you, and I will see you again in another video.